Hello and welcome to another edition of 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers. Tom Caron Lou Merloni with you here in Fort Myers. We have seen the Boston Red Sox play Grapefruit League games, and so far it has been glorious. We have seen Garrett Crochet. We have seen Alex Bregman. We have seen Trevor Story use his swing. It's been a fun start.
Yeah, it has. And when you walk in the clubhouse and you see these guys perform in the field, you realize why it's different. You know, I mean, the high-end talent is here. There's a ton of depth that gets you through 162 games. And you don't have to try to convince yourself how this team could be a playoff team. All you got to do is look around the clubhouse, and now the expectation is this should be a playoff team, 100%.
I thought it was interesting, and you brought up a great point during the broadcast the other day. I feel like the last few years we've talked so much about the building depth, the pipeline. Yep. The kids are on the way. They've got, Houck is becoming this, and Bayo is becoming this, and Cooper Criswell can. Now you kept all that depth that you've built, and you drop studs at the top of it. That's what makes a good team.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you need depth to get through it, but come playoff time, now it's about the talent on the field, and sometimes some teams just have more talent than you. So you need to up the talent as well once you get there. The depth helps you get there, right? But once you get to the postseason, it's about the stars. They take over. It's about a Game 1 starter, a Game 1-2 starter, through 3-4 hitters in the lineup coming up big for you. And this is what's different, quite frankly, in the last couple of years.
Got a first look at Garrett Crochet, 4 strikeouts, and just the calmness of the whole experience of watching Garrett Crochet, right? His calmness on the mound, our confidence watching him and what he's going to do. He's the whole package here. Yeah,
I kind of miss facing a guy that when he gets hit, you're surprised. You know what I mean? He gives up a couple hits, and you're like, I struck out 4 in an inning and 2/3. But the swing and miss stuff is there, and that's what the expectations are with this guy. Maybe somewhat unfairly, right? Because he hasn't really gone 185, 190 innings. But the innings that he did throw last year, the stuff is just electric. There's a ton of swing and miss, and a staff that didn't have it. That's why the defense really got exposed, because you didn't have the swing and miss stuff. You had a bunch of ground ball guys. This guy's different.
Like you said, where they were in strikeouts as a team last year, it doesn't take a lot to move up, right? You were saying one more strikeout a game for the whole season.
11th in the American League in strikeouts. I was talking to Andrew Bailey about it. He's like 160, 170 more strikeouts gets us to top 5. And this is where you want to be, right? Top 5 in ERA, top 5 in strikeouts, whiff rate. Be a dominant staff. Not far away. When you had a guy like that, you almost just added him.
So we saw Crochet against the Toronto Blue Jays here at JetBlue Park, and we'll play back some of the conversations we had during the games like this one. Crochet joining Lou and me on the headset down in the dugout after his outing. Let's give it a listen. Garrett Crochet making his first appearance of the season for the Red Sox. He joins us down in the dugout. Garrett, how'd it feel?
It was nice. It was nice getting out there in some real game action. A lot to work on, but some good takeaways from today.
Yeah, Garrett, you've done some live BPs, but of course you're facing a team in Toronto now. How much are you looking to see reaction from the hitter on your stuff? How much is that important to you?
This time of year, not a ton. Really focusing a lot on what I'm doing. Working on some new pitches and kind of seeing what counts they play in. But for the most part, it's keeping it as simple as throwing strikes, getting ahead, first pitch strikes, and that sort of thing.
You've been here a couple of weeks now. Obviously, it's a new organization, a lot to sort of assimilate yourself to. How has that gone so far, and what's been different for you? What have you liked, and what have you had to adjust to a little bit?
Yeah, the transition was as smooth as I could have imagined. Not a ton of differences overall, but so far really enjoying my time wearing this uniform.
Last year jumping in that rotation for the first time, is a little different feel for you coming into camp with that year under your belt, kind of more understanding of what you need to be for 6 months to be a starter?
I wouldn't say so. I've always had a lot of expectations that I place on myself, and that hasn't changed this year. I just look forward to putting together a much longer year in terms of workload and just helping this team win a lot of games.
Now, this rotation, you got a guy like Walker Buehler, Tanner Houck. I know you guys never seen pictures of you, Tanner, and Duran at the All-Star game, but what's that rotation room look like? What's it like for you guys just sitting around talking?
Yeah, it feels strong, a lot of experience. You just mentioned there's a couple All-Stars in there. So it's really cool to pick everybody's brain. Guys that have thrown more innings than me, how they carry themselves throughout the course of a full season.
Alex Bregman on the hitting side, obviously making his impact today pretty quickly, making a little debut. How'd you like to see that thing leave the ballpark today?
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, definitely glad that we got him over here. He's really fired up the clubhouse, since day one. And we look forward to seeing him hit homers all year.
We've been talking about what he's done in the clubhouse, right? You were just talking to Lou about what some of the other pitchers have done in the conversations that you've had with them. As a pitcher, do you learn from hitters? When a guy like that who's had that success, is there stuff he can tell you about what he has seen from you that can then help you file away in the memory bank?
Most definitely, especially during live ABs. I was able to get him in the box on my past one right before this game. And like I said, I'm working on a couple different things, so I was able to get some strong feedback from him. It's really great when you have hitters with that much experience and that much credibility, so that then when you are working on something, you can expect the feedback to be honest.
Ask you finally, we talked about assimilating to a new team. Andrew Bailey, the pitching group, what's that been like for you so far, and what sort of conversations and work have you put in with them that you're seeing payoff for?
Yeah, a lot of great stuff so far. I like to keep it behind the scenes, but like I mentioned a moment ago, it's keeping it as simple as throwing first pitch strikes. Really just making sure that I put myself in good counts. When looking at my splits, all my years in the major leagues combined, the 0-1 versus 1-0 is very drastic, and that's really the main thing I'm trying to capitalize on right now.
It's great to see you in a Red Sox uniform. Congrats on the first outing. Here's the better things ahead, Garrett. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
So Crochet delivering in his first outing. Thought it was interesting. The next day, today, as we do this, Alex Cora was asked, what can Crochet teach the other guys? And he kind of looked, he said, he's 25 years old.
Yeah.
We got guys he can learn from. I mean, and that's a great point, right? This isn't just, it's not Chris Sale coming in, with a top 5 Cy Young resume to sort of, not what Alex Bregman is going to do for the positional guy. He's still a 25-year-old guy. It's scary, but his best years are still to come.
Yeah, and it's not like you have a young lefty that throws 100 that he can kind of show, right? But you're right, he is young. If anything, and Cora pointed this out, there are guys in this team that have 32 starts in their pocket. You know what I mean? And yeah, he gave you 32 starts, but it was limited innings. Let's talk 185 innings. So he could learn from them as far as like what it's like to get through a full season, which he hopes to do this year. But he's a phenom. He's 25 years old, so that's just excitement in the room.
Very different from what Alex Bregman brings. Alex Bregman brings the resume, brings the playoff experience, the 99 playoff games. He's played 2 World Series championships. He is a guy that is – I wasn't much of a student. We had in chemistry, they would put that one last crystal, and it was supersaturated. The whole thing would crystallize, right? You one more piece. He is that one piece. He's here to teach the young kids, to teach the guys on this team who've been around for a couple of years. Here's what it takes to win in October.
And that's where the value comes in. You forget about on-the-field stuff. We can get to that. But off the field, the conversations, not just with the big 3, in their first real big league camp, but with Rafaela, with Abreu, with Wong, with Casas, with Duran. These are still young players in this league. Like, you're talking about guys at 2 years in the league. So as great as Duran was last year, he could still benefit from sitting around the cage talking to an Alex Bregman. And then, of course, on the field. He's kind of everything you're looking for. And I saw him earlier and said, pretty good start. And he's like, it's only one game. I'm like, yeah, but it was a pretty good start. And he laughed and he smiled. And it's nice for him to get off to. But he's loved the conversations he's had, but on a personal level, working with these hitting coaches. They've already found some things that he was doing he had a good idea what he needed to do too, but he likes where he's at. He thinks it's going to help him hit lefties a little bit better, get back to that walk rate. He's identified, because that's what veterans do, the problem. And it looks like here in Game 1 he's kind of fixed some of those.
What a debut. Hit the home run. He was brought in because the swing profiles well to Fenway Park. This is essentially the same dynamics as Fenway Park. He hit that first home run way up to the top of the wall. Then the second one, the double, would have been a home run at Fenway Park because this is a taller wall here. I mean, that's exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, it is. And, it's funny because the big leaguers, everything is so fine. You know what I mean? And he was talking to me about like last couple of years in this front shoulder, like it was really closed because he wanted to stay in there. A lot of times, though, when you make an adjustment like that, it creates a problem. So the more you close, the quicker you fly open. And that was some of the things he was doing the last few years, and I think it really affected him against lefties. Now he's more straight up. He wants to stay there. That front shoulder, just straight right to that pitcher. Everything just sort of load up and just go right to the ball as opposed to closing and opening. And it's nice that when you work on something, you believe it's going to fix some things, and then you go and see the results on the field. that really makes you believe in it.
Still more than a month before the regular season begins. So and nobody's done anything yet, but It was fun to watch him in his first game in a Red Sox uniform. He spoke to the media after the game.
How do you feel to get off to a start like that in your first game for the Red Sox?
No, it felt great. Obviously, it's good to get back out there. That first one you always got a little jitters for every year during spring training. So it was nice to get out there and, get started.
Just to pop one over the monster. I mean, that's a big reason why you came here. How good does that feel?
No, it felt great. Kind of breaks the ice on spring training. You kind of get to feeling a little bit better. We've been working hard on some mechanical things that I was doing early in my career that I kind of stopped doing the last few years, and been working hard in the cage with Pete and Dylan and Rosie, and was happy to see some good swings today.
What's that adjustment like when you've been somewhere for so long and you have, your hitting coaches there, then you have new ones here, obviously probably similar, different ideas. What's that adjustment period like for you?
No, it's been great. Obviously, a lot of the similar things, but maybe some different terminology. But I've been fortunate to have some really good hitting coaches in my career with Snit and Cintron in Houston, and then now these three guys here. It's been pretty cool.
You said you were working on things from earlier in your career that you stopped doing.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your decision, or did they figure it out, the hitting coaches?
Kind of both. Kind of been feeling some different things mechanically over the last few years that I kind of wanted to get sorted out, and they noticed the same things, and just trying to work on it and get feeling good before the start of the season.
Yeah, what are those mechanical tweaks?
Yeah, I was a little more turned in, and my hands were launching from a lot further back the last few years, so we tried to kind of keep them inside my frame today, and felt good to square a few balls up.
Just with Crochet pitching today, Tristan at first, Trevor at short, kind of a big part of your team out there today. They kind of feel something out there today just to have so many guys out there.
No, I felt great. I think a lot of guys are super pumped to get underway. We're all extremely excited about this season. We know we got a lot of work to do, and we know we got a lot of preparation here in Florida before heading into the season, but it just felt nice, and I think everybody had a smile on their face today when they got here because they knew they were in the lineup.
What was it like just watching Garrett from third base?
Oh, they're great. Punched the side in the first. This stuff's electric. Just in facing him over the past few years, he's been fun to watch, difficult to face, so glad I'm on his team.
What was it like just taking the field in front of these fans for the first time today?
Oh, it was great. It was a packed house today, which is pretty cool, so pretty awesome for a spring training game, and definitely could feel the energy.
You talked about getting booed by Red Sox fans in the past. You probably got the loudest ovation of anyone in the lineup today. What was it like just kind of having that energy behind you and then hitting the home run and the reception you got?
No, it felt great. Obviously, I've heard that home run song a few times on the other side of things, so it felt a little bit better to have it on our side today. But no, it was a blast to go out there and play, and obviously this is just the beginning of the year, and just looking forward to continuing to play hard for them.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
it. Thanks, guys.
So for one day, anyway, the left side of the infield was Alex Bregman and Trevor Story, and that's as good as we've seen defensively on the left side of the infield that we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, and Trevor Story just really becomes a key to it, right? Defensively, what he can bring to you. He's a forgotten man in Boston, often trashed unfairly. I get it. The guy has been hurt, but I think a lot of people just sort of forget who this guy could be. We saw it yesterday, driving the ball double, scoring a couple runs to right center. The power is still there. He just hasn't been able to be on the field. And defensively, he brings that calmness, that stability that this infield has missed in his absence. So he's a big part of this thing, and hopefully, no freak injuries, and he can stay healthy.
Last year, especially at the beginning of the year, that first 8-9 games, whatever it was, We're talking a lot about Trevor Story makes Rafael Devers better at third, right? Devers can concentrate more to the right where he's been better over the course of time because Story's getting almost everything to his left. How much does he mean to the guys around him on the infield?
It's everything. Again, it's infectious. You know, I know when I play with an infield that I know that's catching the ball at a very high rate, you get out there and it's just every ground ball looks easy, and it gives you confidence to believe every ground ball is easy, and it helps you play. It's like hitting. They always say hitting is contagious. We forget about the defensive side of the ball. Like defensively, it's contagious as well. Everyone's making plays. You join the party. Trevor Story goes down. David Hamilton gets put in that spot, and just the game sped up on him. He made a few errors. All of a sudden, Devers, he makes a few errors. Second base, we're making errors at first. There's this panic that kind of went over, the entire infield. The game sped up on everybody. He calms everybody down and slows it down. He affects everyone. Trevor
Story joined us during the game as well. Nice to hear him back in uniform and feeling good about things. Joining us down in the dugout, his day is through. Trevor Story joining us. Trevor, we're underway. How good does it feel to be back on the field playing a game for the Red Sox?
Yeah, it feels great. Just to get out here and, like you said, get the first one out of the way, feel all the butterflies. I still love that feeling of getting excited for the first spring game. So, yeah, it was good.
I know you loved that first at-bat, right? You had 2 strikes, kind of battling guys in scoring position, used a big part of the field. Like that was, for early in camp, you had to feel really nice about that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for right there. That's really good at-bat for me. Like you said, fell behind quick and really just trying to get something in the air, trying to score a Roman from third with less than 2. So was able to, take some close pitches and got one up in the zone that I could handle. And like you said, just be short to it.
If first impressions mean anything, looks like Alex Bregman might work out okay.
Yeah. Man, you can't throw a fastball by him. He's just so efficient, and obviously pull side in the air is his game, and he showed that today.
I was saying that too. This game has kind of evolved, right? It was all about let's beat guys with fastballs up, and hopefully they continue to try to do that to him because the swing is so short, it's not going to work.
Yeah, exactly. He's he knows what he's up there to do. He has a plan, and he executed it today. I mean, that's just great to see. He's had a huge impact on our hitting, our offense as a whole. So super pumped about that.
Speaking of short strokes, I know watching you here in the cage as well, looks like the hands in a little different starting position. That swing looks shorter. Is that something that you really focused on this winter?
Yeah, I did that kind of at the end of the year when I came back, just to kind of simplify some things, have my hands ready to hit, at release, and I think always know where they're at. So just a little less movement, a little more, like you said, a little shorter to the ball, and I had some success with it there at the end, so we rode it through the offseason, and it's felt really good.
You started 18 of the final 21 games that short. How important was that to have that back under you as you went off to this offseason?
It was huge. Just from a mentality standpoint, I was able to, do a lot of the first, get those out of the way after, that type of injury. We had to work through some things where, it's not just come back and play. There's a mental side to it too. So being able to dive and get that out of the way and get in there, swing and miss, all the things that kind of exposed the left shoulder, I was able to do those things, and it just gave me confidence going into the offseason, and we continued to build the strength.
We talk often in spring about getting comfortable at the plate, but defensively as well, like kind of getting ground balls to your right, getting ground balls up the middle, turning double plays. That's important to get comfortable too, right? Seeing a ball off the bat?
Yeah, there's nothing like it, The game reps are the most important. And just like today, I had that one that kind of, was a chopper, and I kind of retreated on a little bit, so I didn't get as much on the throw. Kind of wish I would have just anchored down and threw it, where I was. So it's good to have those things happen right now. And I was talking to Breg, and he said, we want the first 5 ground balls to hit to us so we can just get those out of the way.
It's funny you say that, because when I saw that play, there was like a little hesitation in your feet, almost like you were thinking of setting up and throwing. You just kept running.
Yeah, that ball, kind of bounced up, and I had to retreat a little bit with my upper body, which kind of knocked my momentum down a little bit, made it tough to get the throw. Ooh, nice.
Tried to turn a double play. They got the lead out at second base.
Should be out.
Trevor,
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah, well, there you go. Now he's out. There you go. Trevor, you just got out of it. There's one more question loaded, but you don't have to answer it because the inning's over. Well done. Thanks, Trevor. We appreciate the visit.
All right, guys. Good talking to you.
Trevor Story with us. Biggest smile of all. Get that second out. You didn't have to answer any more questions. So, again, for one day, it was Story and Bregman, but Devers isn't available yet. He's a little bit behind with the shoulder. We assume, because we've watched him working out at third base, when he comes back, he will be at third base to start camp. Do you think he'll be there to start the season?
I think it's a good chance he is. Now, I don't know whether it's to finish the season or not. And it's a good problem to have because, to me, the way this should work out is whether it's Grissom or Christian Campbell. I know David Hamilton's in the mix, too. It's up to those guys to show they can win that job. If they can go out there and do the job defensively, swing the bat like they think they're capable of, then now you have that option, right, to improve maybe your defense at third base with an Alex Bregman, and Devers becomes your designated hitter. But until that happens, I want Bregman's glove. He's obviously going to help you no matter where it is, but I still view second base defense more important than third. Double plays have to be turned. They're in on every single one of them. They're either starting them or they're finishing them. So I want that. I want to feel good about second base before Alex Bregman moves over.
It's been a long time since Bregman played second base at any kind of regular level. Does he need to get a certain number of games in here at spring training before he breaks camp to do it up north?
Yeah, and I think when Devers comes back, you will see him over there a little bit. Right now, there's no need. It's his position he's comfortable with. Devers isn't playing games, but I think there'll be some games over there. I watched him take ground balls day one. I saw him turn 5 double plays and just walked away and said he's good. You know, like he's just a good defender. You know, not everybody can go from third to second or to shortstop, okay? But when you are a shortstop your whole life at the AAA level, this was not a shortstop in college drafted and immediately went to third or immediately went to left field because they don't believe in his big league glove. This is a big league shortstop that was moved to third and is so good, won a gold glove over there. He could move to second base, and I have zero concerns.
All right, Ramon Vazquez, Red Sox bench coach, another guy joined us during the game, talking about the leadership and watching this team come together in the early days. Joining us down in the dugout right now is the bench coach of the Red Sox, Ramon Vazquez. Ramon, we've been talking a lot about this over the last couple of weeks here. Just the different atmosphere coming into this camp. When you add guys like Crochet and Buehler and Chapman, and then Bregman comes in right before the start of camp, like the expectations are pretty high again here, aren't they?
Well, you know what? I love the group. I love what I've seen so far. I think it's the great additions we did in the offseason and Bregman in last few days. I mean, it's been a complete change out there in the clubhouse, and I think everybody's focused. Everybody knows the good team we have, and it's the matter of preparing ourselves, getting ready, and keeping everybody healthy, keeping everybody on the field. That's bottom line. That's where we got to shoot for.
And, you know, while I got this kid up at the plate, too, I want to ask you, because it's not just about the big league roster, and these guys may impact you, whether it's out of camp or during the season, but this kid Garcia, you know, Roman Anthony, Marcelo, Campbell, like, these are some big dudes, Ramon. They're coming in here strong.
I tell you, it's fun to watch. I mean, they're really good athletes. They're not just big. They're very athletic, the way they move. I mean, you saw earlier in the game, Eaton just beating that ground ball with the infield in. I mean, I would have easily gotten on around that on that one. Back in the day when I was in really good shape. I mean, it's really fun to watch, you know. The bodies, how everybody's in shape. Everybody got here early. Like, when I got here, there was so many guys already in camp preparing. And it's a really good thing to see. Not only the veteran guys, but the young guys that were all here.
A little different, isn't it? You got pitchers who throw 2 innings in their first outing. You got position players playing 5 innings right out of the gate. Like, these guys are ready to go, and it's still February.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a different thing we're doing this year to prepare the boys, and they actually love it. I think they like the fact that they go out there, they know they're going to get 2-3 at-bats in the first day and play 5 innings, and they're enjoying it. They're having a good time. The rest of the guys are in the bench. They know when they're going in. It actually makes it easier for me and the guys here in the bench making all these moves. But it's, you know what, it's fun to watch. Like I said, it's, you know, very athletic group of guys that we have right now.
And, I laugh too, Ramon, because there's so much chatter. Everyone's trying to break this down and play Cora and play Breslow with all these guys. And how does everybody fit? And that's a good thing, right, in camp, to have just an uncomfortable roster, almost having too many good players. I mean, I kind of know it plays itself out, but that's a good issue to have.
I don't see it as a problem.
Yeah.
I think it's why wouldn't you want to have this problem, or whatever you want to call it? I mean, I think it's competition out here. We know what we're all about. We're all about winning and putting the best club out there. And it's been fun. Every day during the workouts, doing the work, and we're doing things a little different. We spend about 30 minutes doing defensive work with the infielders every day, doing in different stations and working on different things, and it's like a competition out there. It's actually fun to see, and you said it, what you said is completely right. I mean, it's a really good problem to have.
I'll ask you finally here, Ramon, that you don't only have players at the top of this roster coming in, but you've got this young group of prospects we've been talking about for a few years, and you watch Anthony and Meyer and Campbell. These guys act like they've been around in a good way, as Lou said the other day, right? The maturity is pretty impressive with these guys, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, I walked in the clubhouse here a few weeks ago, and I look at Ramon and Anthony. I'm like, they told me the kids. I'm like, where are the kids? These aren't kids. Gosh. I mean, it's the way they handle themselves, the way they talk, the way they ask questions. It's actually nice. Hold on one second. Oof, good swing. I mean, the bodies, the work ethic, the athleticism. You saw Ramon Anthony going first to third in the first inning. What is it, 6'4"? I don't know, 230, and he's. I mean, it's crazy. It's not something I was used to when I was a player. You get once in a while, you get one of those players in the league. Like I was fortunate to play with Josh Hamilton back in the day, and that's the type of athleticism you see in these big kids. That's what you call them, big kids, I guess.
Well, it's exciting to watch them come together, and we'll be doing that throughout the spring. Ramon, always great to have you on. We appreciate the visit, my friend.
Thank you guys for having me, guys. Have a good time.
All right. We wanted ratings, so we wanted the big guns. Ramon Vazquez with us to help out.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome you back as we roll on. It's 3:10 to left, presented by your New England Ford dealers. The exciting thing about this camp is we've talked about the talent that's come in at the top of the rotation, the top of the lineup. While that's happening, the bumper crop of young prospects that we've been watching for years is knocking on the door. It's not often that you have a team that has put together what it feels is an October-worthy roster and has young guys, 20, 22, 23 years old, pushing at the bottom end of that.
Yeah, it makes this camp really exciting. I think all three are in a little different situations. We look at Christian Campbell and say second base is open. He's got an opportunity to prove he can be the everyday guy from opening day. I think Roman Anthony, and only because of the way this outfield is situated, really is coming into camp here to kind of show what the staff what he can do, and I think they all have a pretty good idea what he could do. But you're always an injury away. Like right now, if everybody stays healthy, I could see him starting down in AAA until they need it. But as we haven't seen Wilyer Abreu yet, an injury could happen in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and he could find himself in opening day. Marcelo Mayer is the guy that's a little bit behind, only because of injury. Last year when all these guys came up to AAA, he had the back injury, so he never got a game at the AAA level. You'd probably like to see him play at that level for a little bit. So all of them maybe in 3 different phases, but trust me, they're all knocking on the door.
I've got to see him a few times in Portland and Worcester over the last few years. And for all what we talk about these young guys, the thing about Meyer that we talked a lot about in the minors and we've seen a little bit now, how smooth he is defensively.
That's the best way to describe it, offensively and defensively. Very mature approach to the game. Offensively, smooth swing from the left side. Defensively, very smooth in the infield. I mean, this guy's a legit big league infielder. But there are checkpoints, right? Things that Roman Anthony checked off once he got to AAA, the way he hit lefties, the way he reacted to off-speed pitches. These are still some things that Marcelo, remember, these kids come out of high school, they don't face many left-handed pitchers, and the good ones fly through the system. All the good lefties are in the big leagues. So now getting more comfortable, working on that approach against lefties, recognizing secondary pitchers, these are things that It's impressive because it comes quickly to them, but still, there's still a few boxes you'd like to check off.
Marcelo Mayer got his first game, if you will, not a Grapefruit League game officially, an exhibition game against Northeastern United. By the way, 10 guys on the Northeastern roster older than Marcelo Mayer, so just a little idea how young he still is, but mature beyond his years. He joined us during that game from the dugout. Joining us now after his day of work, Marcelo Mayer. Marcelo, it had been a little while since you got to get out there and play a game. How'd it feel to get back out and get your 5 innings in?
It was good. It was a really good time just to be out there again playing a competitive game with fans, wearing the Red Sox uniform. It felt really good.
You know, Marcelo, we often talk about, like, early in camp, trying to get comfortable at the plate. We forget about the defensive side. Like trying to get comfortable seeing balls off the bat, right? Working on that first step. Is that just as important for you as well?
100%. Yeah, I think a lot of it just has to do with getting your timing down on defense. You know, once your timing is down, you're just going to make the right instincts, and from there, your athletic ability just takes over. But it definitely is a little bit different seeing it off the bat compared to like a fungo or a machine.
Yeah, and for you, here you obviously played your whole career at shortstop. Maybe moving around the infield a little bit, trying to maybe get comfortable at different spots, whether it's third or second. Is that what's going on here in camp?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, for me, it's wherever I can play, wherever I have the best opportunity to help the team win, to make it to the big leagues. I'm going to do it.
You know, we've been talking a lot about Alex Bregman, who comes in, his locker right near the younger group over in the clubhouse. What's it been like getting to know him and getting to have some conversations with him here in the early days?
He's the man. Yeah, I'm sure you guys know this, but his first day here, we were eating lunch. Me, Roman Campbell had just finished our day, and he took the time to sit with us for like an hour and a half and just talk shop, get to know us, talk baseball. It's just telling us how excited he is for the future. He's an ultimate competitor, and he's super excited to be here. He wants to win really bad. You
know, his resume speaks for himself, obviously, but when you get to meet a guy like that and he's so open and welcoming, what does it mean to you as a young player?
Yeah, I mean, it means everything. Experience is everything, and that's something that us younger guys don't have. So to have people like him, Trevor Story, all these guys in the clubhouse, it's a really good feeling.
You know, Marcelo, when I talk about your game offensively and defensively, one word kind of explains it to me, and that's like smooth, right? Or mature. For you, I know last year didn't end the way you would have liked. What are some of the things you feel like you need to focus on here this year?
I'd say just the same things I was working on last year. As far as when I'm in the plate, it's just getting good pitches to hit, performing my ace swing.
Yep.
And then defensively, just being locked in every single pitch. I think it's super easy through the course of a long season to take pitches off, and that can really bite you. And especially in the big leagues, like, you can't really take pitches off. You got to be really focused. Every pitch counts. Every game counts.
The way the last 2 seasons ended, how good does it feel to get this camp going here, healthy, feeling good in your first big league camp?
Yeah, it's the best feeling ever. As an athlete, you just want to be out there playing with your boys, playing your heart out, and obviously it didn't go my way the last 2 years, but I'm glad to be back out there playing.
I'm guessing Alex Cora has told you that there's going to be a lot of at-bats here for you in camp, maybe even a lot of gray uniforms on the road, so you're looking forward to that?
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's part of the experience. Wherever I get a chance to play, I'm going to take the opportunity.
A little difference here with guys getting like 5 innings right out of the gate. Take us into that a little bit. Alex Cora was telling us, the sports science group, saying, maybe a little less wear and tear on the backfields, a little more game action is what we want here. How did it feel for you? And take us through that sort of conversation a little bit with the players. Here's what we're going to try this year.
Yeah, I mean, it felt good. It wasn't really anything different. The 5 innings did seem a little bit long. But yeah, AC had a meeting with us. He said sports science said that there's no benefit to ease your way into it, playing 2 or 3 innings. So we're pretty much just going to get in there, 5, 6, 7 innings, whatever it takes, get your at-bats and get out. And as a player, that's what you want. You want to get experience, you want to get your at-bats in, and you just want to play.
So the 3 of you, obviously Christian and Roman, you seem to be kind of moving, right, in herds. Whenever you guys are around one another, whether it's walking to the cage, doing your work on the field, that close-knit group, that's you guys are something special there, right? Kind of pushing each other?
Yeah, those are my boys, of course. I think this camp I've been around KC more than Roman, just because he's been with the outfielders. Yeah. But yeah, just working with KC, being around the clubhouse with Roman, with the young guys, it's really fun. Obviously, it makes being around the clubhouse that much more comfortable. But yeah, we get after it.
You did lose one member of the Wolfpack, and that was Kyle Teal this offseason. Was that a little bit strange? Because you guys are always kind of tied together.
Yeah, that was definitely one of our boys. That's part of the game, though. You learn it at a pretty early stage in your career, and I wish Kyle Teal the best. He's going to have a great career. The White Sox definitely got a good one.
Who takes over as the DJ in the clubhouse without Kyle Teal?
There's no more DJs. There's no more DJs. That's the first player I've ever seen that's DJing post-game, so I don't know if there'll be another one.
You understand you're taking it right now. Roman's standing behind you. You got a little seed collection going on the cap, right?
No, I didn't know that, but that doesn't surprise me.
Well, he can owe you dinner. I know you guys throw dinners around left and right every single day, it seems like.
Yeah, no, we're heavy on the steak and avocados. So Roman's been chefing it up pretty well. So I've been getting my protein in, that's for sure.
All right, we've got 2 outs, so now you got your opportunity to go back and get after them. We appreciate the visit, Marcelo. Great to see you back on the field.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Good talking to you.
All right, Marcelo Mayer with us down in the clubhouse. Another young guy still that we kind of forgotten a little about this winter, I think, Vaughn Grissom. He's been showing his stuff early on in these games, getting a chance for second base. You said it before. He could be a guy who pushes his case and says, listen, I'm ready to be the second baseman of this team. We're going to be better if I'm at second base. Interesting to watch him and what these early games are like for him.
Yeah, he really has. It's almost like last year, we all know, it's kind of a lost year, right, with all the injuries. And because of that and the emergence of Christian Campbell, it's almost like Campbell has passed him. But we do forget. He lost a year, but this is a really good player, especially in the minor leagues, like the way he swung the bat. Last year was an odd year for him. He was traded. He come here, learned a new position at second base. I think it took a little bit of time, but he looks a lot more comfortable here this year. He looks a lot stronger, and we forget that this guy is given now an opportunity to win that second base job. And you're kind of seeing it early in camp, right? He's getting a couple of starts early on. They want to give him a long look.
He's hit everywhere he's been, including 60-some-odd games with the Atlanta Braves as a young player. 21 years old, getting a chance with the Braves. Traded for Chris Sale, obviously. It didn't work out last year, but he is driven to prove it. Working out this year, says he can reclaim the spot at second base. I spoke with him about the challenge ahead.
So I feel like I spent the winter saying, don't sleep on Vaughn Grissom, like the forgotten guy. The way last year went, AC said, you got to, when things go that far off the rails, you almost got to give it a mulligan. Yeah. Was it sort of easy to, I don't want to say easy, but easier to flush it away? Like, it was like, that's not me, I'm going to move on. What was that offseason like?
It was the first year that I had to deal with some, adversity like that. So, it was tough, but in a way, it was easy to step back and reflect on the season and be like, you kind of needed this and needed to learn. I learned a lot about myself last year and how to get myself out of a funk, how to take care of my body a little bit better. Just so many different things, different avenues, and just learning how we do things here. It's a lot different than with the Braves, and it was in my eyes a big stepping stone in my learning process.
The success you had in Worcester really at the end, right? 18, 20 games, then you came back up. How important was that to sort of have your mindset right when you went off in the offseason?
Yeah, that was actually huge. I got my confidence back. Yeah, there was a while there. I'm just you don't remember what it's like to be, a threat up there or whatnot. And so once I got into the groove there at the end, it was a good feeling to remember and shoot into the off season with some confidence, and to try to build on that.
You come back obviously bigger, stronger. Was it a different routine in the off season? Take us through what you did.
So I think the only biggest difference was just not playing winter ball, and then whenever I got hurt in winter ball, I got traded, a day later, and then so it was a lot different just because I didn't have that time to really focus on myself. I was learning left field, and then it was like, oh, you're traded and you're back to second. So it was like, oh, okay. I was kind of in a whirlwind, but definitely felt good to be able to focus on myself again and just get big and focus on some of the things I need to get better at.
When you look back at what was going on last winter, do you just sort of shake your head? I mean, the winter ball stuff, the trade, the position movement, it was a lot going on.
Yeah, it was a lot, but I felt like I was good for it, though, because now at the end of the day, I know a little bit of left field. I have some experience out there, and I know how to prepare myself to do that. And obviously, back to infield is where I feel like I'm at home, so it's good to be back.
With AB here, there's talk of competition. I think you said it best, right? We're all competitive guys. That's why we're here. You embrace that?
Oh yeah. It's part of it. Everyone wants to be on the field. At 7 o'clock, and that's what we're here for.
So it's an interesting competition, right? Because it's sort of Vaughn Grissom against Christian Campbell, but it's also not because it might be Alex Bregman.
Right.
So there are external forces. It's not just what either one of them do, it's how everything comes together.
It's kind of like the reality of camp. I can always remember you come in here like me as a utility guy, and you feel like you're competing against another utility guy. And you're like, well, he's not having a good camp. I'm not having a great camp, but I'm having an okay camp. And the reality is that neither one of you maybe are having a good camp, and they go outside and they pick up another utility guy off another team. So it's like you can't worry about what your competition is doing. You got to worry about what you're doing, right? Because the reality is if he plays better than Christian Campbell in camp, it might still not be good enough to move a guy like Alex Bregman. And really, that's where the focus has to be for Grissom, right? Really focus on your game. Focus on yourself. You've lost an entire year. Be the player you think you are, right? Defensively, offensively. And if you just focus on that rather than the big picture, sometimes it might be better off.
There's a lot of talk in the first days of camp about what Rafael Devers said about not wanting to move off Thursday, about Tristan Casas weighing in on who should play where. You got Vaughn Grissom, who's kind of on the outside looking into an extent right now, and he says, listen, I'm a competitor. I love the competition. Bring it on. That's how you answer the question.
Yeah, that's how you want to react to things like that. What else are you going to do? You're going to feel sorry for yourself? You know, like, there's no decisions made. You know, contrary to popular belief, Tristan's not going to decide what the roster looks like. So you go out here and you do your job. Again, even if it looks like you don't have a chance of making this team for whatever reason, you are one injury away in a game. There's 32 of them left, or whatever there is. You know, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in the middle of this and being a starter for this team.
You mentioned, in your experience, teams going out and getting a guy late. The Red Sox continue to add, and Adam Ottavino was a guy they added in the early days of camp. Minor league contract, which was interesting. He didn't really get a major league deal he liked. Knows what's going on here. He's here in 21, was a really important part of a team that got to the ALCS. Could he end up making this bullpen out of camp?
100%, because I think you see this a lot. We saw it last year with Joely Rodriguez, and eventually it didn't really work. But in the month of April is about creating depth and having depth. So if you have a guy like Adam Ottavino who's pitched in this league a long time, pitched in some big spots for this Red Sox team, and you don't want to lose him at the end of camp, right? You want to continue to keep that depth. So if he gets out of this healthy and shows that he is who he still was, the last few years, you could see him making this team because this back end, these last 2 or 3 spots in the bullpen, there's so much versatility. There's so many guys with options, right, that you could say, okay, we can slide 4 or 5 guys down who are big league relievers in the minor leagues and see what Adam Ottavino has. See how the whole thing fits and have a better understanding of how this bullpen, because there's injuries come into play, and you'd much rather have depth. Keep a guy like Ottavino and then see where this thing goes April, May.
Adam Ottavino, of course, a Northeastern University alum. I spoke with him right before his alma mater took on his current team, the Red Sox.
Well, first and foremost, you want to give the speech for Northeastern today? Do you want to give the Hoot Rocky, go get them?
Well, I think if you look at the all-time record, it's not too promising, but no, it's a really exciting day for those guys. I was obviously in those same shoes, so. It's a really exciting day for them, get to pick the big boys today.
It really is a cool tradition. I feel like traditions like that have been lost in sports a lot. The money gets bigger, so you move on from that. It's cool that the Red Sox stay doing, isn't it?
No, it's great. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's something that, I know those guys look forward to all year, and it's a cool way to kick things off, kind of with a fun game, start spring out.
The journey back here for you, I remember as it was coming together, talking with some of the guys, they're like, man, if we can get him. You sort of look around, you had options. Why Boston? How did it work out here?
This is a great place. It's the Red Sox. It speaks for itself, really. And I've been here already, so I have familiarity with a lot of the guys, trainers, AC. So if I'm going to be in a position where, I don't know how much longer I'm going to play, I want to be somewhere I really love playing. So for me, once I saw my options, this one kind of stuck out. Pretty far ahead of the others.
That 21 season, I was thinking back, it couldn't be a weirder time to come to Boston. It would have been going anywhere, coming out of COVID, playing those early games with nobody in the crowd. But then the way it ended there, as electric as that place was with the Yankee game and then going in, when you look back on that year, you've done a lot of things with a lot of teams. So what did that year mean to you?
That was a special year. Like you said, I don't even think there was that much expectation coming into the year that year. We started off kind of slow, but it really built, and I think the fans were a big part of it, getting let back in and the passion kind of getting revived again in Fenway, and just what a run, all the way down to the very end of the regular season. I remember Ravi hitting that big home run in D.C., and then, the wild card game was probably about as nervous for a game as I've ever been, being I was just on the Yankees the previous year and really wanted to win that game, and once we got through that game, we just kept rolling, and we almost went the whole way. It was really, really exciting.
I feel like for a lot of us, you were an early adopter to grounding. Like we see a lot of people doing it now. Do you take some pride in being like a pioneer in the field?
I don't know if pride's the right word, but it's cool to see that other people, I don't look like just one crazy man out there anymore. I think if more people are doing it, then it makes me look a little more sane, so I'll take it.
You come here obviously with a chance to get on this team. What is this spring for you? What do you have to work on? What are you trying to accomplish?
Just got to get up to speed. I got to get up to form. I know what I can do. It's just a matter of hitting the ground running here, getting where I need to be, and showing that I can be useful. In any variety of ways, and help the team win. Ultimately that's what this team wants to do, so have to be a part of that.
Well, I asked you about the DR. I asked you before. What was that experience like, and kind of ending last season, ending that run with those couple appearances down there? What did that mean to you?
I thought it was just awesome. It was something I decided to do around August of last year. I just knew that I had a unique opportunity where I hadn't thrown as much as other years, so I still had plenty of gas in the tank, and I wanted to go down there and throw a little bit, not only for myself, but also just to get in that environment and connect with my teammates better and understand kind of where they all come from and what their lives are about. And it was a really eye-opening experience and something that I think will really help me moving forward, just connect with the Latino guys in general. And it was pure baseball, something I really loved about it, kind of recharged me a little bit. Obviously.
So going to be fun to watch Ottavino as it comes together, by the way, wearing number 00 because Walker Buehler's already taken 0. Ottavino, of course, wore 0 back here in 2021. And then over the weekend, we waited, and finally the announcement, Matt Moore has been signed. This guy was in 2010 the number 1 prospect in baseball. Bryce Harper was number 2, Mike Trout was number 3. Yeah. So this guy was once one of the highest regarded pitchers coming up through the ranks. 15 years later, we've seen what he can do. Tampa had those great years. What does he have to do here to sort of get some attention?
Well, also left-handed depth. Zach Penrod, there's some concerns there with his elbow. And so, again, you mentioned it. This guy last year wasn't good for him. He didn't throw the ball well. The numbers weren't what they had accustomed to seeing. But when he was moved to that bullpen, he had 2 years prior where he was a dominant lefty out of the pen. So, again, another guy that could break camp, even though it's a minor league deal. Or a guy that maybe could sit in Worcester for the first month. There's going to be an opt-out date. Let April shake out. Maybe whether it's Justin Wilson, a lefty, or Chapman, a lefty. One of these guys, they feel like they need a third lefty. It's a lot of competition. It's a good problem to have because you're deciding, with some really good arms.
Last week was school vacation. We saw a lot of fans here. There's a lot of buzz around the team. It's also one of the more intriguing camps I've covered in a while because of everything we've just talked about, right? The competition going on, the young players pushing, some of the pitchers who are coming in last minute. This is a team that thinks it can go deep into October, but it's also a team that has some spots that will be competed over.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. Again, there's nothing. We spend so much time saying, well, if this guy does this, and if Massa, where's Massa? If Devers is the DH, stop worrying about all that. Because if you have an uncomfortable roster in camp, or even an uncomfortable roster for 2 or 3 weeks throughout the season, what it means is, if something and the inevitable happens with an injury, you can replace him with a very good baseball player or a very good pitcher. And that is what winning teams look like. And this is something you haven't had in a while. So having these problems, trust me, it is a good thing. And as they always say, these things have a way of working themselves out.
They do indeed. We'll be here talking about it throughout spring training. But that does it for this edition of 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers. For Lou Merloni, I'm Tom Caron. Thanks for checking it out.